Okay.
Hello, we are live. I am here with Barbara McBee and Candace Chow, two of the amazingly inspiring third act women who will be sharing a bit about their journeys and their beautifully purpose driven third acts. Part of what is I see as a gift at this time in our lives is a degree of clarity that could have been a little blurry over some of the years before, where we really connect in and either remember, reconnect, or discover who we are and what we're meant to do. And I think there's another thing that just really comes up in us, which is this real need to make a difference in some way with our one wild and precious life. So I would love to hear from both of you. Give us a little bit of a preview of what you're going to share at the storytelling event that kicks off tomorrow, Friday. So Barbara, why don't you share with us first?
My story is called 18th and Pink, and it is the story of a devastating health struggle, an abrupt, sudden health struggle that completely changed the way that I viewed my life and my creativity, and opened a pathway to creativity that I found I was actually resurrecting from my
Hmm.
youth.
So I love the term resurrecting from your youth. That's going to be exciting to hear. So tell us what you're doing now, and maybe a little bit about this transition you've made over the years. I think you phrased it well when you said journalist turned poet or something like that.
Well, I was always a poet. As a young woman, someone said to me that I had poet's eyes, and I would
Ooh.
stand in the mirror and study them. Well, what do they see? What does a poet's eyes look like? And I realized over the year that I was rather dreamy, naive, and that was said as time went on. So I went from writing hard news, um, directing others' stories, editing others' stories, to wanting to tell my own. And I have to say, that's always initially a little nerve wracking because you're very vulnerable. It's one thing to guide someone else in sharing a story or to write the truth or your perception about an event, but to stand naked before a crowd and expose yourself, or one person and expose yourself,
Mm.
is quite unique. Now I don't care if it means something, or you feel something, or you learn something, even if it's just one word, then it's valuable.
Mm.
What am I doing now? I storytell with the Goodman. I'm writing a play. That's my dream. To before I leave here, I want to mount a play and continuing to submit. I have two books that were a 30-year dream. I don't know. The publisher said, "Why did you wait so long?" Well, yeah, I asked myself that, but I finally let them go. They're both on Amazon and in 11 countries somewhere. The Art of Making Stone Love Stone, the poem collection, and From a Place to Behold, the Goodman Stories, a collection of 11 stories that I told under the auspices of Goodman Programming.
Mm. Mm.
So
Beautiful.
that's what I'm doing. And I've been doing that vigorously for the last 6 or 7 years. I storytell around Chicago. Um, I'm invited to storytell next year in another format. Um, so starting to feel a little bit crazy, but I can do this.
Well, you can do this, and I loved your book, The Art of
Making
Making
stone.
Stone Love Stone. I love that. I loved that collection of poems, and I love that you, as a storyteller, said yes to joining us because, as you just said, it doesn't matter where you are in life, if you're over 50 or not, if you're thinking of third act or not. These stories that you and other women will share will you'll you'll get some gem from them. So thank you, Barbara. So how about you, Candace? Tell us a little bit about your journey, or a little bit about what you're going to share with us this weekend.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks both of you, and Barbara, is so exciting to meet you. I'm a little bit nervous about this whole process. I am not a self-professed or practiced storyteller, and so I still telling my story. I wouldn't call myself a storyteller, but I I really call myself kind of, many things, and that have gotten me here to this third act or fourth or fifth. And it's a lot about, Barbara said resurrecting. And I think for me, kind of reconnecting at a transition point a few years ago. I had this lifelong dream of kind of running for public office. When I was a kid, I admired Phil Donahue and Barbara Walters and, other folks, Margaret Tutwiler, who was like the spokesperson for U.S. Department of State. So weird, kind of odd, odd folks. So always wanted to run for office and kept putting it off for a variety of reasons, and thinking I wasn't ready. And then did that I did on a small scale before that, but ran for a state level race in 2018. Did not win. And it was like one of my first real quote unquote failures in my life. And turned out to be probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, because I realized I still took so much away from that process and that experience that, kind of really filled my toolkit even more. And it was a point of reflection. Okay, well, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with the gumption that I have now from being able to walk door to door and have people kind of either be kind or not be kind? What am I going to do with the ability, having built relationships in business and nonprofit and all that? And for me, it was, kind of becoming quiet and looking for those next opportunities, and realizing it was to return to supporting and advancing women, which is how I started my career, how I started my life, advocating for my own mom in various situations, which I'll talk about some in my story. And that I was even more equipped to do that right now with all the other things that have come in between. So that's what I'm doing now. Is I have a company called Next Group, and along with 3 other amazing women founders, who started it back in 2019. And we support women who are returning to work after having, some sort of quote unquote break that's never a break, or pivoting their careers in different stages of their lives, or just trying to advance their career, and may not have access to the same social capital or networks or as others, because of their background, their race, their income level, et cetera. And how can we help provide that support? So it's been a real blessing, and during this time, especially with the pandemic, to be building something and growing something. And I love to talk about it, as you can tell.
Well, thank you, Candace. I was thrilled to meet you. And actually, one of our other fellow storytellers, Rebecca Reynolds Moore, has this Founders Test Kitchen each month, and we met there and connected. And I instantly knew I would love for you to be with us. So thank you for saying yes, and feeling as the theme of the day. And Anita, we just had you joining us from the West Coast. Thank you for getting up bright and early to join us. But what we've just been talking about is how in this third act, one of the gifts is finding clarity. Maybe not completely figuring it all out, but clarity about what it is, how we want to live our lives. So Anita, if you would share a little bit about we're giving a little teaser for what the storytelling event will be like starting tomorrow. So just tell us a little bit about you and your ahas.
Oh, well, my story is really about an arc from 2015 till 2021, where I was dealing with a kind of a life and death health situation, and what I learned and what I had to do, and then the challenges, and then the learnings that I think apply to a lot of different kinds of situations, when anybody faces a challenge, right? For me, a lot of clarity has come from reflecting about different things. I was working, and then I wasn't working, then I was traveling, and then I wasn't working, and one thing and the other. And so I really needed to kind of come back to who I was. And in fortunate, unfortunate way, COVID, really gave me the time, to do that. and to reflect. And we all stopped and thought, what matters to me? And got clearer and clearer on that over time. Unfortunately, I live in Mill Valley. I'm surrounded by trees, which is kind of like probably the optimal kind of environment, right? To get in touch with nature and your well-being and, all of those kinds of things. So it gave me an opportunity to do that, to reflect, to let go of things. I started doing more kind of meditation with Wisdom 2.0. They had what ended up to be a 13-week mediation retreat. Monday through Friday, an hour and a half a day, people calling in from all over the world, thousands of people. So it was quite a collective community experience. We were all going through the same thing at the same time. When has that ever happened on the planet? Hopefully we'll have a planet.
So beautifully
right?
true.
And so I think that those kinds of senses, it's kind of, you could either go in the fear, we were all fearful, right? But you could go in that direction or try to embrace, the kindness and cultivate within. So that was one part of giving myself clarity. And then I went to my Elder Academy. I've done courses around purpose and work and those kinds of things, and really got down to connect to who am I really? What am I really all about? What value do I have in the world? I'm still kind of sorting that one out, as I try and plug into different things that I want to do, different directions that I want to go, particularly work-wise. But that there are certain kind of core talents and things that matter to me. I love to, ironically, I love to lead conversations. And I do that when I do interviews with people, when I'm helping a friend, sort out a problem. I do business development and partnerships. And a lot of that is around leading conversations with different clients, potential people, potential partners, people within your company that you need to. So that seemed to be the through line for me. I'm genuinely interested in things. I'm highly curious. I really enjoy people. So it was kind of coming back to that and saying, okay, I don't have that career. I didn't have that. I'm not still engaged in that, but I do have this. And how can I apply that for fulfilling life for myself, but also to make a contribution to other people and to pay for traveling and a home and, all of those good things.
Absolutely.
Healthcare, the whole business, right?
So what this demonstrates to me today, ladies, just in this little foursquare we have here, is the beautiful power of connection. I met each and every one of you over this past year. I mentioned how I met Candace. I met Barbara through a dear friend, Kathy Simmons, one of your soul sisters, growing up in Korea. I instantly knew that I would love to connect and know you more. And the same thing with Anita. I met you. We have a very shared background. So I really hope that if you're listening to this and you're thinking about joining us for the storytelling event on Friday and Saturday, it is about the stories, but it's also about the connection you can have with other women. They might not be thinking or doing exactly what you want to do or thought you might do, but something you will hear will spark you. I believe in that. And one of the things that's magical when we all come on to this storytelling event, you can, of course, listen into it and pop in and out on live stream if you're interested in that way. We also have an all access way of getting involved where you be in the Zoom room with us having these kinds of conversations. After each storyteller, we'll have Q&A and chat, and we're going to have some breakout sessions, really, really to give us all a chance to connect on deeper levels. And thank you, each of you, for coming here today, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Oh my gosh, it's literally, let's see, I can't use my hours correctly, but it's Friday night at 6:30 is some number of short hours from now. That's all I know. And I'm just thrilled that I'll be there with you all. Have a great day.
So excited. See you soon. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to meet you both.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.